It is the curse of all royalty to be compared with their forebears. My illustrious father built himself a kingdom in his youth. Now I can barely hold on to it in mine. I hear all of the nobility's whisperings at court. They say that I may be King of England by birth, but I will never be so by merit. That I, Edward II, am unworthy of my father's name. How much longer until these whispers become cries of rebellion? My heart quivers when I visit his tomb in the abbey. I am racked by fear. It claws at my soul like the talons of demons. Fear that I will prove them right. That I will disgrace this family's legacy, as my grandfather did. Yet I must not give in. I will study my father's reign, and hope that it will imbue me with his strength, the fortitude that I so lack. My father, Edward, spent his youth watching in disgust as his ineffectual father, Henry, drove England to the brink of ruin. When his subjects could bear his ruinous reign no more, a rebellion led by the Baron Simon de Montfort deposed Henry, leaving his kingdom in tatters. After the disastrous Battle of Lewes, the baronial forces captured and jailed my father and grandfather in Hereford. Some kings begin their rise to the throne from within the palace. Edward began his from the anguish of imprisonment. Yet even when the future seems bleak, fate occasionally extends its hand and offers allies from the most unlikely of places.
And welcome again, YouTube. We're doing the first Edward Longshanks campaign, Vain Ambition. I hope you enjoy. Let's see, they both must survive.
Come, Lord Edward. Let us make haste and escape whilst the town lies asleep.
Interesting. So we can go over the wall, fight our way, or just sell out. Let's try to sell out. The Brits do enjoy a good sale. Always put your heroes in the front. Remember, they do heal up, and in general they are tankier.
Vessel good old sturdy long enough to carry us out of Elfra. Keep your eyes sharp and the bucket ready to bail out the beach.
Okay, excellent. So we can now escape. Let's start going up the river. We have 4 men and 1, 2, 3, 6 towns to conquer. Sounds perfectly balanced. We need to continue our escape. The ride to Worcester is quite long, so we'll need to grab some horses on the way. Perfect, and fully healed. That's what I like to see. Synthetic, heroes in the front, and let's make our way to Worcester. Perfect. And another successful battle. Now let's call it a skirmish. On our way to Worcester, which actually has an excellent sauce. If you have never had English sauce, you really should try it. With fish, it's just incredible. Okay, we found a relic for the future, excellent. Another little patrol, at least they're relatively easy to take down. And we should have our city here now. Let's see.
Look lively, townsmen.
Yay.
Prepare the defenses.
Indeed,
or
indeed.
Hero de Montfort will have our heads on
Let's see
spikes.
what
Ready.
can we do.
Bulden.
Ready. Bolden.
Start preparing an economy. It doesn't need to be a particularly large one, but an economy nonetheless. They still don't know we escaped, so for now we are safe.
Bulden. Equilin. Yay. Bulden.
But still need to bolster some defenses, create some army, explore a bit, see if we can make some allies anywhere.
Mandatum. Equivalent. Yay.
We got our sheep. Now let's explore a little bit around, just to have some idea of what's happening. Exploration is particularly important, even on campaigns.
Yay. Yus. Gatherer. Correctus. Gatherer.
Remember to keep everything as efficient as possible. We don't have access to that much population, so it would be useful if whoever we do have would actually be producing. We're also getting a bit more of the map revealed. Let's see. We did start with some walls and they should be attacking us at some point, so a couple of defenses wouldn't be the worst idea. The lands do seem a little bit empty around us. On the other hand, in theory, no one actually knows we escaped yet. So... let's start repositioning a bit. Perhaps making our army useful, and I'm housed. No.
Bolden. 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 Bolden.
Using house as walls, do remember to do that. Especially in online play, it is really useful. Just don't get housed, that's less useful. Boosting the towers a bit. Not the worst idea. We are Britons, so whatever archers we can get are always a nice little boost. For now, these first couple of minutes, we just focus on economy, on getting everything up.
Mandatum.
As unfortunately our enemies should be all around, and from the score they are quite better equipped than us.
Ready. Yay. Equivalent. Equivalent. Yay. Equivalent. Yay.
Now how do we want to?
Bolden.
Perhaps the best is just straight wall there.
Bolden.
And now while I don't usually go for full wall, at least having some protected areas would be quite advisable.
Bolden.
This should at least give us a little area here for our economy. That shouldn't be as easily raidable. Combination of archers and spearmen should get the job done. Probably bolster with some cavalry just for the heavy hitting.
Correctus.
Always remember to make your armies
Bulden.
at least a bit diverse, so that you can counter any mix of units that the opponent might send to you. Now let's just get some exploring done. Keep your economy updated. Don't forget it.
Ready.
I always do.
Ready. Mandatum.
What a surprise, and we are housed again. This is unfortunately more of an occurrence than what I would enjoy, but with time I'll remember.
Briton, ready. Mandatum.
This is something that I've seen in D quite a lot. The builders
Oldham.
seem to enjoy trapping themselves quite more than in the previous versions.
Oldham.
Which is odd, but let's call it a quirk. Render attack. Okay, we found one of their camps. Infantry and a lot of knights.
Mandatum.
Indeed. Pikemen seem to be the way.
Mandatum. Equilin. Ready. Yay. Bulden.
With that final wall, we should
Bulden.
be somewhat protected.
Bulden.
And now we can just focus on trying to grow.
Yay.
They will learn of our escape in 2 minutes 20, so at that time I do expect some units to start coming our way. And we should be prepared.
Briton. Yus. Hunter. Mandatum. Yay. Hunter.
Not a perfect boar lure, but won't complain.
Ready. Yay. Yes. Mandatum. Ready. Yay. Equivalent.
Ready.
Our
Equilin.
numbers are
Correctus.
growing.
Greatus. Yay. Equilin. Correctus. Bulden. Yay. Dich. Yus. Equilin. Dich.
Yay, yay.
Starting to collect some stone. We'll possibly need to drop a castle or two,
So the tall
or at least for any extra walls that we might end up needing.
Oldham.
I shall assemble the baronial army myself
Chopper.
and prove
Yes.
him to be as
Oldham.
foolish as his father.
Wales casts its lot in
Mandatum.
balance. We will
Ready.
help you return the brash Longshanks to his cell.
Our holdings in Worcester can support
Bulden.
but a small
Bulden.
force.
And I see the Welsh
To bring our
have...
rivals back into the fold
Bulden.
and even the odds.
So, we're against the Welsh, we're against Alford, Gloucester, Kenilworth, and we already took over Worcester. So we need to take 3 of them down.
Ready.
Hmm.
Oldham.
We'll have to decide who's weaker and who's the easiest targets at the start.
Yay, yay.
Yay.
We have an opening. Let's do remember to keep an eye on our walls as
Bulden.
your wood line advances. As like in this case, you end up just
Bulden.
creating holes that can essentially get your whole economy killed at some
Chopper.
point. Our army is slowly advancing. I think we'll be going for Gloucester first. In reality, I have very little idea of whatever units they actually have.
Strike at him swiftly, Lord Edward, lest he join his army with that of his father.
Okay, another opponent. Here we got the Welsh with a castle in the town center. Here we got Hereford, which I think we won't be going to. We'll start with Gloucester, then make our way up.
Yay? Correctus. Bolden. Bolden.
I do think of myself as a safe player, so perhaps I do wall a little
Briton.
bit too much.
Yay.
Feel free to tell me in the comments.
Bulden. Bulden.
And this is indeed some OCD playing up.
Mandatum.
Not everything needs to be perfect, but what does need to be perfect is just special. Now let's just continue with our attack. Try to boost that ramp speed a little bit. I call this the sneaky surprise.
Yes. Ready, equivalent. Fatal. Mandatum. Fight. Yay. Yes.
So let's start taking the fight to them. Always a mix of units, so that in theory you can take everything down quite speedily. They have more units than we might have expected still. Victory should be ours. To remember, we need to take down the town center, that is the priority. Don't break ranks, boys. And we have the ram on target. Excellent. First attack is going well. Those towers do start taking their toll, but still not that heavily upgraded yet. Let's see if we can help this. Back at home we suffered a very slight attack. Very likely to use someone under that gate, leaving it open. On the other hand, it seems that our starter towers did handle it nice.
You're seating Gloucester.
Meanwhile, we took over Gloucester. Minimum casualties, we even get a couple of sheep, which they can just keep for themselves. I'm a nice person. Now, let's move the army, as we do have at least 2 more enemies to conquer before this is over. They already start on their town center, rebuilding their economy. I am terribly sorry, boys, but at least you are on our side now. Let's get the army back home
Yay.
and
Yes.
see what's going around here. In general, we are completely
Yay.
secure, so that is always a positive thing.
Dich.
Ready.
Couple more shooty boys.
Ready.
Just get our ranks up.
Ready. Yes. Bulden. Correctus. Bulden.
Now this should conclude all of the necessary fortifications. We'll need rams, we'll need more men. Let's start upgrading the men also. Couple more crossbowmen. Crossbowmen?
Briton.
Ballistics would not be the worst idea. That always helps out. Couple more sheep here and there.
Equilin. Yea, correctus.
Mandatum.
Okay, we're starting to get a nice Pokeboy snowball.
Bulden.
Let's continue with the economy.
Briton, yours. Golden.
This should be a safer wood line, just in case we do start getting attacked. In this case, in around 20 minutes, we will get attacked. So let's see how this goes.
Yea, equivalent.
Now let's get our men ready.
Yea.
Everything together, 39 crossbowmen. That can start doing some damage. Where is my villager?
Mandatum.
She went for a ride.
Bulden.
No problem, no problem. Oh, we're getting attacked. Our very first raiding party. Let's see how this goes. In general, they seem to be melting to our towers and crossbowmen, and they won't be getting in today. Excellent job, shooty boys. We did lose a couple to their
Yea. Yes, equivalent.
skirmishers.
Ready. Yea.
Indeed. And now we have Hereford also sending a couple men against us, which won't get them anywhere.
Mandatum. Equivalent.
Locuster keeps putting some pressure on the Baronial forces, which relieves some pressure from us, and we should at some point go take down Kenilworth. They do have an army in front, but if we manage to deal with that, it should go correctly.
Briton.
Ready. Yea.
Now our comp will be rams to take the castles and buildings down,
Equilin.
crossbowmen just for general DPS, and we'll have the Pokeboys in front just to keep their knights and cavalry off us, as most of them do seem to be fielding some sort of cavalry.
Ready.
Our numbers are starting to get quite bolstered, so perhaps a new attack might be in order.
Mandatum. Yea. Yea. Yes, equivalent.
Briton. Correctus. Bulden.
The Welsh have advanced to castle. This will make them a bit tougher to conquer. We'll need to start pushing them before it gets a bit too late.
Fatal. Fight.
Let's just get these rams moving a little bit faster,
Ready.
as their speed
Mandatum.
is
Yea. Equivalent.
wanting, to say the least. This should be enough for us to take something down. Let's see how this advances now.
Mandatum.
As always,
Ready.
I am
Yes.
housed indeed. There seems to be an old tradition of ours.
Yes. Yea. Yes. Yea.
Ready. Yes. Bulden, 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 Bulden.
Beautiful apartment complex. In the meanwhile, our forces are advancing on the enemy position. We'll start with taking the Welsh. Start with the little town up there, as it does seem to only have a town center. No castle does make it a bit easier for us. So let's just keep exploring the countryside. Indeed, housed once again, just temporarily still. You do want the rams soaking up that arrow fire, always makes it easier. They do have the higher position, so they do a bit more damage, but we should be giving them a little surprise soon. And surprise! This should get this northern city quite easily. I see their forces have already gone down, and the town center has also gone down. Strangely enough, they did not come to our side. No, in this case we'll need to take down both of the Welsh towns. No problem. On our way we go. Let's hope we have enough just to make this work. Join up, men. No point taking all the civilians down. Some defenders by Hereford, which won't do that much. And now we're ready to push on. Skirmishers are annoying when you rely mainly on crossbowmen, but nothing too impossible. Let's just defend these rams. I don't want to lose them. That castle is our target. Let's bolster the army a bit while we're back home, as we're very likely going to need some reinforcements here.
Mandatum.
How deftly they advance.
Bulden, Bulden,
Our
Bulden,
bodies are theirs.
Bulden, Bulden.
Our souls are God's.
Your soul might belong to God, but after I kill you, your body will indeed be mine. Now I feel slightly underprepared to take a castle with 3 rams, but let's see what happens. If the defenders are few in number, this should be possible in theory. So let's see. Defenders don't seem too many, quite acceptable. But the rams are going down a little bit faster than I expected. I hope this provides some cover fire. In the meanwhile, slightly no, this won't even be close to enough. We'll need to come back. Seems that this wasn't the best of engagements. Now we have another small raid by Kenilworth, which once again will accomplish very, very little. And that has been resolved.
Yay. Bulden.
Now its castle should secure the gold and provide us with some much needed upgrades, namely Yeoman, the Briton unique techno
Yay.
that will give our towers +2 attack and +1 range on all of our foot archers, which is quite useful.
Yes. Yay. Batal.
Was this a bad engagement? Possibly, but at least we clear everything that's on our trail.
Batal. Ik willen.
No intentions of dealing with the other side of the river though.
Yes. Yay.
Now in roughly 4 minutes we should be getting a bigger rate on us. Hopefully we will be prepared. We are at least closed off and we do have about 40 military. Only some more rams, but I'm uncertain that those will actually be useful.
Bulden. Briton. Dich.
And we're lacking some gold. Let's just bolster our gold economy for a bit. A couple of men. We do have a quaint little town here. Looks quite cute.
Mandatum. Correct. Yes. Dich.
Now 2 minutes to go for the first attack on us. It should have been a bit depleted as we took one of their supporters down, Gloucester,
Yay.
and we partially weakened the Welsh. So hopefully this will be defensible. In the meanwhile, let's continue getting some rams out as we will need them to push the castles down. Some trade would also not be the worst idea.
Yay. Mandatum. Yes. Yay. Yes. Batal. Yay. Ready. Mandatum.
Enough tarrying. My knights come for you.
It is quite useful that Gloucester keeps some pressure on the barony, and I see that at least a scout already came for us, so the rest of the army should be arriving soon. And there it is. Good that they decided to essentially route around the only castle that I own. We just get these villagers protected.
Dich.
And that essentially wiped any of their dreams of a successful invasion.
Ready. Bolden.
Ready. Yes.
No, it's our turn.
Ik willen.
Yay.
Not the most efficient of woodlines.
Yay. Bulden.
Let's open up another one as we clearly are having some wood issues. Now here there's only a small army defending that castle. And it is quite close. I will need to deal with him eventually. Might be the time. Seems they have decided to advance most of their army on us. So if everything goes well, they just deplete their numbers right here while we're at home. And Kenilworth also wants to attack us. That is perfect. That should leave most of their holdings empty, which would allow us to attack. There's a ram there. The solo ram push. Genius idea.
Briton. Equilin. Bulden.
Some more sun on the side. Just in case, not really needed. Now let's go for some relics, as our gold does seem to have some issues. Remember, diverse army always wins. I could sell some food. On the other hand, it's always useful to have some sort of stockpile. Now their hero has decided to come to us, so let's start with taking him down. This should break the morale of their army. So now it's just a question of mopping up the rest. We did lose a number of knights, not that many, about 4 or 5, but still we took down way more units. It is now time to start possibly taking the fight to them. Let's start mustering our forces. Relic for gold boost, always useful, and there's another one for us to collect later. Let's get our men. This should, in theory, be enough. Our gold situation is slowly improving. I should have gone for trade cards way earlier. On the other hand, at the start, protection and building those forces up is a bit more important. And now let's see how this attack fares. In theory, this should be enough, plus our sneaky surprise. With over 30 crossbowmen in the back, everything should stay alive. As planned up until now. Okay, a couple of defenders. Let's get the spikemen out. And you start working on those. One hit kills, go. We already lost 2 rams, that is not as good as I hoped for. Let's hope that we can get this done. And the Welsh decide to attack us right from the back. Quite low and dirty of them, but still we should be able of clearing this up without many issues. Another one down, next one. But unfortunately the castle did not go down as we expected. That's the second time. Seems we should start learning from our mistakes. Let's just go with a slightly bigger force this time. So that was slightly embarrassing. Two castles that didn't quite go down as fast as we had hoped.
Correctus. Sane.
I try to avoid the overwhelming force strategy as it does get a little bit boring sometimes. So we end up in these situations occasionally.
Ready. Yay. Yay. Yes. Mandatum. Yay. Yes. Batal. Batal. Yes. Batal. Yes. Batal. Yes. Batal. Ready. Yay. Yes. Batal. Equivalent. Mandatum.
Push
Yay.
2.0. Let's see if we can get farther this time. Unless we are quite unlucky, this should be Kenilworth going down. One ram that nearly didn't make it to target. But this should get us done. Let's see. This time we have no support from pikemen, but we did take most of their units down already. We're losing a couple of crossbowmen. Having them tank the castle isn't the best of ideas. Okay, and that went down. Perfect. Now in theory... Okay, yeah, excellent.
Have the locals rebuild this tattered ruin, then levy them into our army.
We now have 2 allies, so that should already have cut Hereford's power by quite a lot. And I wouldn't say this is the worst of engagements. We do have our allies here to provide some support, so let's take this on. Remember to always click the unit so you get one-hit kills when possible. That does help to take down their DPS quite a lot. As if they have 10 knights with 1 health, it will still be 10 knights doing full damage. In theory, one more enemy and either we win or we can then take Hereford down. For the baronial forces, we haven't actually finished their encampments, so they are growing slowly in power. Still, we should be able of taking them on now. Let's grab those last few remaining ticks, just in case.
Presto.
Yay? Yay. Bulden.
Now let's assemble our armies. You'll notice we didn't go too heavily into knights as they do cost gold and our resources were limited. And I did prefer to stack a bit more on the archers. As we are playing the Britons, so I'll try to play to each civ's strengths and units, just to make it a bit funner. Now with this we should be ready for that last push on the Welsh. With that we'll secure most of the northern and southern map, just with a couple of barrel force entrenchments here and there. We'll just, I guess, take them down afterwards, then we'll just focus on surrounding and destroying Hereford. Quite useful that the Welsh decide to throw their army onto us right now. That will be less that we need to deal with in the future. Meanwhile, let's start advancing. Is that a trader? Not even sure why. No, the castle isn't particularly well defended. If a while ago 3 rams were enough to do some damage, then in theory this should be more than enough for us to take the castle down, conquer the Welsh, and perhaps even continue on to Hereford. God's skirmishers are annoying. I would enjoy ignoring them, but unfortunately that is not quite an option. If they start building in numbers, it can get annoying. Still, we're just covering the passage of the rams, so no need to actually take anything down. Let's continue. Just like the first time, it seems quite peaceful, but we should get a number of units appearing suddenly. Those were just... oh. One Welsh and one Kenilworth, so Kenilworth did send some support. Indeed, we did come in quite a larger number this time, so it will be harder for them to defend and take us down. Start with getting some support for rams, which can also take their rams down. We lost a couple, but their castle already has a couple of fires, so it shouldn't take much longer now. Indeed, we broke their army. Now just a question of waiting some more moments. That castle should fall to us right now. Perfect. Okay, and with this, the Welsh are on our side, so we can start moving against Hereford. And this was it. I hope you enjoyed. This was the first episode of the Edward Longshanks. I am the Thirsty Camel. And if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. There will be much more to follow.
Like his Norman ancestors, Gilbert de Clare was a shrewd opportunist. Initially a commander in the rebel army, he keenly sensed its divisions and saw that he could further his own ambitions by defecting to Edward. My father moved with alarming speed. Worcester and Gloucester, Gilbert's family seat, were seized without delay. After a string of further victories, he compelled the leaderless and battered rebel forces to capitulate. Known by many as Longshanks, Edward was feared for his imposing stature and foul temper. While Henry was restored to the throne, all were well aware that Edward was now the true power behind it.